Ravi, probably you can take it. When COVID hit, the pandemic, right? People were not aware that people have to work en masse out of home. So when the VUCA world, the uncertain world hits you sometime, while we are adopting a strategy, a cloud strategy, how can companies, suddenly respond to a situation like this? Do you have any interesting stories to share here?
Many stories. So many.
Pick one.
Us, like one of the common most problem was that how do I connect to my application which is running on premise, okay, and all my people are outside and they were all connecting when they came into office, So that was one of the common stuffs that came across to us. We are giving different kind of solution, workspace solutions or server on the cloud, and we made the connectivity inside. All the solutions were there eventually. The simplest of it happened to be like, okay, put up some kind of device and let people log into your infrastructure and connect again from outside. So eventually the fact was that the solutions were always there. The need was not there. All of a sudden the whole thing turned. And the need from outside in came bigger. Always there were people who were connecting from outside. Few people out of like thousands of employees, few hundred employees were connecting from outside inside. So that model was replicated, for across. But then people who were not on the cloud, for them scaling was very difficult. Because there was no one was able to reach office. All those problems started happening.
Yeah.
But then to all of my personally and in general also, I'm saying the surprise was that things started settling down fast. Because the science was always there. Okay, it's just that it was not within reach of many people because they did not have the resource and devices around to handle.
Correct. Yeah.
So it did work. So
interesting.
Adding to what you were saying is, people who were on the cloud, for them it was a few button clicks to get them enabled and then be ready for this new world.
Yeah.
While people who were on-prem and had the traditional setup had to put in a week or 10 days of sleepless nights, get the required...
It was a shock basically, you have to respond to a shock.
And then get the hardware in place and then get it going. I know a few of my customers who were people who were completely on cloud. For them, they didn't even lose a night of sleep. The next day morning was business as usual. It just
makes sense.
Logging from inside the office, but outside the office. While people who were on hybrid, they had when I have these applications which I'm able to reach, but what about these guys? And then all the refactoring and the rerouting came into play. And obviously.
So adding to that point, another big uncertainty could be change in business model, right? So suddenly you are acquiring a new company, or you have a budget to start a new product line. It could be brick and mortar, and then suddenly you are moving online. So now you look at your applications again. We spoke about monolithic applications. So in your opinion, based on some of the use cases what you've gone through, what happens when you have to repurpose applications and things like that? What should companies look for in, for example, microservices and things like that?
Yeah.
What's a decision criteria, or what goes inside putting that in place?
Yeah. So I'll relate it to one of the use case or the customer, right? Very similar. It's an interesting point you brought in. There was a customer which is into steel manufacturing. Okay, they are steel manufacturers. We are the India's leading steel manufacturers. So what they were trying to do is they were trying to build a application. Okay, for it's open to market for people to go and create your own estimate for building a new house. You want to construct a new house. It's a marketplace what they're trying to build. Like it's a traditional company. You can look at the way they started thinking and working, right? So two ways to look at it. One is if you are really trying to build something new, go cloud native, right? Go serverless and into a microservices architecture, because it's loosely coupled. You can scale faster. Even when you want to add some new services or capability to your existing applications, it's very then you do your upgrades, right? But it's not the case with so anybody who's trying to build something new, going a serverless way is ideal, and you're trying to break your current monolithic application. So it's easy. People talk a lot about monoliths to microservices, but it's really tough, right? Because you'll have to understand the domain, functionality of the applications, and at times the whole system architecture should support. If your system architecture doesn't support, if you do monolith through microservices wrong way, you will go crazy, right? So you will not be able to meet the purpose. So yeah, I think these are things where companies have, when they want to really refactor, so doing a deep dive understanding of what I'm trying to achieve and what's the outcome, and start looking at doing it the right way. So that's important. But from a trend perspective, building event-driven architecture, right? So when you are really building something new, go with the event-driven architecture model, right? So if I have to say this from AWS perspective, you can just use Lambda API Gateway and do whatever you want, right? So and these are things which will scale up. Another thing
and what could be your recommendation? So how should companies look for an opportunity to build an event-driven model, right? But when is the right time? Is it based on my use case, or I have to set an agenda and said, okay, let me take my application to the next level? What's the trigger?
I mean, that next level which you're saying is very risky, So
Okay.
I get requests from customers who say that I want to use containers. I said, do you have microservice? And do you have that? No. Here is my Java Spring Hibernate. Put it on container. I said, why do you want to put that on container? Okay, but then there's the next level. Supposedly the next level. So that can be, that's not actually required. You're actually getting to it. But yes, if you are moving out of a legacy application, and you really have to do it better, why don't you do it, with the cloud native infrastructure? It's easier to build, it's faster to build, it's very easy to change. If something goes wrong, you can change very fast. And you're not worried about the infrastructure, right? Of course, it's not a straight solution that you get onto cloud native. Obviously, there are boundaries. You need to be aware of the architecture and what are the limits to that. But the use cases have to be discussed. But yeah, if you're moving out of legacy, now another aspect I'll tell you. So there are many tools that take you out of legacy into a modern technology, but they are not necessarily cloud native.
Okay.
The conversion is not cloud native. But if you want to do cloud, using these tools, you can move from legacy to modern, maybe in a month's time or two. But doing the same thing on cloud native may take 6 months or 1.5 years. So what is your choice? So I would straight away say convert it and let's finish the task. Let's get it from let's say I'm moving from COBOL to C#. There are tools that can do that. That can do it very easily, right? Why do I move from COBOL to cloud native? From a 6 months journey to a 2 months journey, I take a 1.5 year journey. So that is a technical decision, as a CXO you need to take as to where you're going. You don't have to get overwhelmed by something.
So don't do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed.
I mean, really look for a business case, understand, makes sense.
And don't fit technology to modernization just for that everybody is doing.
Yeah.
Right? So
Don't get into the bandwagon.
That's where things go wrong.